You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. As I said, folks, we're here in Orlando, Florida, at the office of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. You see these signs behind me, let my people vote and free the vote. That is the slogans they have used. It was 10 years they worked on the effort to pass Amendment 4 here in Florida to change the state constitution, restoring the voting rights of formerly incarcerated folks. That passed overwhelmingly by 2/3 majority here in Florida in 2018. But they are still battling the Republicans in this state because they then went and passed a law saying you had to pay all of your fines and penalties before you can get your right to vote. The guy, of course, who conceived this, he has been leading this effort. He and his wife, Meade, Desmond Meade, joins us right now. Desmond, how you doing, man?
Fine, man. Welcome to Florida, Roland.
All right, glad to be here. And so it has been it's been a crazy last 2 years. You thought it was going to be a little bit easier than it's supposed to be, but the fact of the matter is, ain't nothing easy for us.
You're right about that, but that's one thing I can say, that we are resilient people, and we'll always find a way. So whenever they throw obstacles, we just take those turn them into opportunities to grind and keep grinding, and eventually they're going to back away.
And so when we talk about this Free the Bus tour that you're going to be on as well, tomorrow what's happening, not just here in Orlando, but all across Florida?
Yeah, so tomorrow, if I could use street slang.
Go ahead.
All right, tomorrow we about to clap back, right? We clapping back against anybody that's trying to intimidate us. If they're trying to discourage people from voting, if they're trying to block us from voting, even with these fines and fees obstacles, we're clapping back, and we're responding to that by showing up in even greater numbers. So we're asking returning citizens in over 30 cities throughout the state of Florida to bring their family, their friends, their community, to come and vote with them and celebrate the expansion of democracy and show the powers that be that we don't scare easy.
And when you talk about that, so what's happening here in Orlando, the Amway Center, where the Orlando Magic play, is being used as a voting location. But the rally taking place tomorrow is going to be what? There in the parking lot area? Explain what's actually happening here in Orlando.
Yeah, so we've been working with Orlando Magic, of course, more than a vote, to really have arenas, sports arenas throughout the state of Florida, somehow or another be polling locations. We were able to be successful with Orlando Magic, and so we wanted to really highlight that commitment that Orlando Magic had, even with the communities that was right next to it. Paramore was one of our poor communities, one of the communities where we have the highest concentration of people who are disenfranchised, who benefited from Amendment 4. And so we said, let's party at the arena, right next to this neighborhood, and we're going to go out there and we're going to bring the people to the polls, and we're going to celebrate with them. We're going to have a stage set up right across the street. We're having people like Common come down and other artists that's going to be coming down and performing. And we're going to have a very important discussion that I believe you're going to be leading about the Ocoee massacre, right? Because it really relates right back to what we're doing now, about how in the past so many people have tried to stop us from actually participating in democracy, and they have went as far as to burn down a town and to murder people to prevent them from voting. And so we're going to show by showing up in over 30 cities in Florida and in over 27 cities in 13 states throughout the country. So in Texas, North Carolina, Michigan, Wisconsin, Alabama, and Louisiana, we have returning citizens that's going to be leading other formerly incarcerated people to the polls, right, to show that as people who have struggled, who have been incarcerated, we're not backing down from these intimidation tactics, because our forefathers went through way more than what we went through.
Also, I see some of y'all comments. Y'all might want to calm down. We are more than 6 feet away from each other, and so we're doing social distancing here. So that's why normally the interview we're right next to each other. So y'all settle down. People are like, y'all need to have y'all mask on. We got this. This ain't our first time doing this. Desmond, talk about, look, y'all have been going into places a lot of campaigns don't go into. Share with our audience what the reaction has been like talking to these brothers and sisters who thought they would never have an opportunity to vote. You yourself.
And you trying to make me cry, Roland, right? That's what you're trying to do, right?
Well, I ain't trying to make.
That's what you're trying to make me cry. Man, listen, for real, I can't tell that story without talking about that sister in Oslo, Florida, and we worked with her to get her eligible to vote. And when we came back to register her to vote, right before that, her doctor gave her 6 months to live. And she started crying as she was filling out her voter registration form, saying how she never thought that she would ever get that opportunity to vote because of her drug addiction and because of a felony conviction. But there she was now filling out her voter registration form. And when she went to sign it, she asked our canvassers to pray that God would allow her to live long enough to be able to cast a ballot. Roland, she was given 6 months to live, and she wasn't trying to go to Disney World. She wasn't trying to go to an exotic place or meet a celebrity. She just wanted to vote. She just wanted to cast a ballot and see how it felt to be like an American citizen. And that hit me right here. And then when I reached back out to her, maybe about like 2 weeks later, come to find out her health took a turn for the worse. The family had to rush her in the hospice, and 4 days after getting in hospice, she passed away. And that just ripped my heart apart because that's all this woman wanted. And I know that her story is indicative of so many people. We had a brother this morning that's reached out to me and said how he was faking the fuck all these years, being apathetic about voting, saying, oh, my vote don't matter, it didn't count. And the whole time he couldn't vote. And yesterday he voted for the first time, and he revealed that all that time he was really jealous of people that were voting. He was really jealous of that. Just think about that. And so he voted for the first time in his life. You have so many people that's doing that, age of 71, 78, in their 60s that have never voted before. And so these are stories of returning citizens throughout the state of Florida, actually throughout the country, right? The sleeping giant has awakened.
Reverend Dr. William Barber has talked about that. He's talked about the poor, 75 million who did not vote. 91 million total did not vote in 2016. That was eligible to vote. Now we start talking about those who are incarcerated. And you have people in this country who still want to keep them in prison. I say it's a prison without shackles. Saying, oh, you did your time, but now all of a sudden you still can't vote. Since y'all passed Amendment 4, have you seen in even greater intensity pick up across the country folks who now realize that's not the way to go? The governor of Iowa, Republican, restored the voting rights as well. She, Republicans didn't want to do it, but she said this is the right thing to do.
And with no fines and fees requirement.
Right. With
no fines and fees requirement. And we've seen, we got our brothers and sisters in California right now. They have Prop 17 that's on the ballot that would extend the franchise to people while they're on parole or probation. You're seeing efforts in Kentucky. You have returning citizens that are leading the effort to help register folks that have been reenfranchised by the governor there. And so, yes, it is a growing movement throughout the country, and more people are understanding that the only people that don't want people with felony convictions to vote are the people that are taking that position for purely political reasons. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. When you have Maine and Vermont, which ironically the majority of that population don't look like me and you, right? But in Maine and Vermont, they could vote from prison and jail. And that's never been an issue. And I think that we can go as far as that, right? I think that no one should ever lose their rights, right? I have 4 sons, and they do some stupid things every now and then, but no matter what they do, they never stop being my sons. When you strip voting rights away from a person, you basically strip them of their citizenship. And we're not relegated to second-class citizenship status. And so I don't think a person should ever lose their citizenship, and we should always be able to have our voices heard. You're counting us for the census. You're making money off of us. We're paying taxes, so why can't we vote?
Absolutely. Again, 24 states, 24 locations all across Florida, but also you said 13 other states?
No, man, you shortchanging us, man.
I'm just checking.
Over 30 cities in the state of Florida.
I just want you to repeat it.
Yeah, over 13 states in the country and 27 cities in the country. And folks are really showing up. I think it's so beautiful because, as a person that's been through recovery, one of the things I learned in Alcoholics Anonymous is that the most important person in the room is that person that just got off the street, that person that just got sober. And right now at polling locations all across this country, the most important voter at their polling location are those first-time voters, people who've gotten their rights restored, people who have never voted. And we need to make sure that that experience is not a traumatic experience, but a lively, exciting experience. And that's why we're throwing down, man. We're going to have a big party, right? Because we need them to know that voting is something that they should want to do and enjoy doing rather than feeling it's a task that they have to do.
Last thing for you, which one of the cameras he should look into? I want you to look into that camera. There's a brother who's watching. There's a sister who's watching. They got friends who they know. They got family members who say, voting is a waste of my time. I'm not, is chooser of the lesser evil. They're coming up with all these excuses. How long was it? How long did you not have your right to vote?
For me, I haven't voted. This is the first time I voted in over 30 years, and the first ever presidential election that I'm voting in.
So for that person who's watching, who says, "Man, I ain't trying to hear all that."
Man, first of all, let me tell you, if your vote didn't matter, you wouldn't have so many people trying so hard to stop you from voting. There is some value there. But even when you talk about that people are not paying attention to your issues, I can't pay attention to your issues if I don't even know you there. And the only reason people are going to know you there is when you show up to the polls and vote. That's when that power manifests itself. But as long as you staying home, as long as you're making excuses, then guess what? You will always experience these issues that we're experiencing today. And another thing, don't get caught up in the candidates, right? There's no such thing as a perfect candidate, but you should be going to vote for the most important person, and that is you and the one you love. You talk about you'll fight for the one you love. You're willing to die for the one you love. You need to ask yourself, are you willing to vote for the one you love? Because if you don't, there's going to be somebody's neck on yours pretty soon.
Desmond Meade, I appreciate it, my brother. Look forward to the event tomorrow.
Listen, I'm looking forward to having you, man. We turning up.
All right, then. Desmond, I appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. And, of course, y'all, I will be rocking my Let My People Vote shirt tomorrow. We're going to be live streaming the event. It starts at what time tomorrow?
2 o'clock.
We're going to be live streaming the event on Roland Martin Unfiltered tomorrow, 2 p.m. Y'all want to let everybody know we'll be right here. So, Desmond, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Michael, I want to start with you. The point that Desmond made right there, again, there are brothers and sisters out there, especially brothers who say, man, this is a waste of my time. But the reality is you can't change anything. You can't change anything in this country without public policy. So you can't say, I want to see stuff change if you don't vote for the folk who are in position to actually change stuff.
Well, Roland, politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources. And the writing of law. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Live. You're live.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Hear? Okay. Yeah, politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources, and the writing of laws, statutes, ordinances, amendments, and treaties, the adoption, interpretation, and enforcement. So politics impacts every aspect of our life, from the water we drink to the air we breathe to the food we eat. When we look at the protesters over George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, you have to have people in office to properly respond to your demands and your protests. Well, how did they get in office? Okay, they were elected in the office, or they were appointed by somebody who was elected. And then the other part of this, Roland, as you talk about, is that on the other side of the election, we have to have the engagement. And we also have to understand how oftentimes we're financing our own dehumanization. When you did the State of Black America and you had Reverend Al Sharpton as one of your guests, Reverend Al Sharpton talked about how money managers take our pension fund dollars and loan them to real estate developers. The real estate developers come into our communities and gentrify us out of our communities with our own dollars. So oftentimes we don't know that we can contact our money managers, find out where our pension fund dollars are invested in, and redirect them into other areas that are not doing us harm. So on the other side of voting, we also have to leverage our economics to enforce our politics, as one of my teachers, Dr.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, the folks at Ceek.com, black-owned company founded by Mary Spio. They, of course, a virtual reality company. You can check out their content at Ceek.com, Ceek.com. You can do so, of course, with these VR headsets. You can look at it, of course, on your regular device or your pad or your computer. But if you want to experience being in the room, you can use this headset right here. All you simply do is just pop in your cell phone in here, pop it on, and then put this headset on, and you can literally experience their content in virtual reality. And so allows for you to do a 360-degree view of the room. But also, folks, they have the 360-degree 4D headphones right here. These are Bluetooth headphones. They have complete surround sound in terms of as you hear the particular music. Gamers love them as well when they're playing their games. And so it's just phenomenal bass in these headphones as well. You can get one or both devices at Ceek.com using this promo code RMVIP 2020, RMVIP 2020. So we certainly thank the folks at Ceek.com for being a partner with us here at Roland Martin Unfiltered. All right.